Deciding to file bankruptcy can be a life-changing decision. There are common and unnecessary mistakes many people make when filing for bankruptcy. Colorado Bankruptcy Experts is here to answer all your questions. Colorado Bankruptcy Experts is a service of the Heupel Law Firm. Kevin Heupel served as the Assistant Attorney General, and his firm is a member of the National Association of Consumer Bankruptcy Attorneys and the prestigious American Consumer Bankruptcy College. Kevin Heupel from Colorado Bankruptcy Experts joins us today. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Let's start with, what are the financial warning signs that someone should consider a bankruptcy?
The biggest one is if you can't pay your credit cards in 5 years, that's a warning sign. If your credit card, unsecured debt, medical debt's more than a third of your income, like let's say you make $60,000 a year and you got more than $20,000 of debt, the reality is you're never going to pay it off. You're just going to maintain it, and that's when you ought to look at bankruptcy.
Why do you think it is that people wait too long to actually take the step towards bankruptcy?
I think they feel ashamed that they got themselves in the situation and they want to get out of it. They legitimately want to pay their debt back. But like I said, once it's more than a third of your income, you're not going to. And it just takes time to realize that.
And I would imagine it's a stressful time for people. And with stress, people don't think straight, and then they start making mistakes. What mistakes do you see them making?
Well, a big one is, they'll jump into these debt settlement programs that promise the world, and all they do is deliver bad results. They end up getting sued, or they settle a debt only to pay taxes on it, so they create tax problems. They deplete retirement accounts that could have been protected in a bankruptcy. And so they just make decisions that hurt them in the long run because they're responding to short-term pressure.
If someone has made a mistake through the process, you can actually get involved and help them, right?
Right. So some people don't want to pay attorney fees. They think, well, it's pretty straightforward. I'll just file it myself. And then they hit a roadblock because bankruptcy is a federal law. It's a complex legal issue. And most of the time we can resolve somebody's petition. So if they filed it, they got some problems, we can help them out.
All right. How about common misconceptions about bankruptcy? What do you hear the most?
Well, they say, my credit's ruined for 10 years, and that's not true. I mean, the reality is you rebuild your credit in 2 years. Credit scores in the 700s. You're eligible for an FHA home loan 3 years after filing. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my car. I'm going to lose my retirement. You don't. The law recognizes that you need those things to live a good life. And I think that's probably the biggest misconception is people think they have to give up everything to file bankruptcy, and that's not the way it works. Bankruptcy realizes you're entitled to have a good life, and you're entitled to get out of your debt if you can't pay it back.
What about debt consolidation? You mentioned it earlier. A lot of people think that they should try that first. What's your feeling on that?
Well, in some situations it does make sense. I mean, if you have an asset that we couldn't protect in a bankruptcy, you could sell it, pay your debt. But for most people, it's not a good situation because there's no guarantee of result. You typically get sued, and then your wages get garnished. And the worst part about it is if you do settle a debt, you pay taxes on what you settled. So if you had a $100,000 debt, you settled it for $20,000, you're paying tax at $80,000. That's the highest tax bracket.
Right. And you mentioned credit, too. How long does it take for people to rebuild credit after bankruptcy?
2 years in a bankruptcy, and if you did debt settlement, it's 7 years from the date of the charge-off on your credit report. So it's 3 times longer to recover from a debt settlement program than if you had entered into bankruptcy.
Again, all great information.